All right, today I want to talk about how to render out your shot for the light study. So here I have on my ground plane a bunch of lights shining down here. And what I want to do is I want to actually render out the shot um, for the camera and save that image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my render globals or my render settings here. And I want to make sure I have a couple things. I'm going to be working in two tabs. There's the common tab, and this is where I'm going to set the camera that I'm going to render from. So I'm going to be rendering from my perspective camera, so I want to make sure that that is selected there. I have to choose the image size, and we're going to be doing full 1024, which is 1024 pixels in the width and 768 pixels in the height. And that's all I'm going to do for that. So I choose also, actually, I'm going to make sure I choose my image format, which is going to be a JPEG image in this case. So I'm going to, when this renders out, it will be a JPEG image. And I am then making sure I choose the correct camera, making sure I choose the image size. And then I'm going to go up to my Maya software and I'm going to make sure I have my production quality set to, or my quality set to production quality. And in this case, I'm not running any sort of ray tracing, and so I don't need to set anything else, and I don't have motion blur or any of that. So I just want to make sure that those settings are complete. So I have my, uh, um, and here's where we can name our file name. So this is where I can actually put in my first initial last name, and then light study. So I'll put in my light study. So I'll put in the name of the image, the type of the image, the camera I want to render from, and the size of the image. And then over here, I want to make sure I'm doing my production quality settings. And once I have that set, um, what this is going to do is this is going to feed into whenever we do this, we're going to feed it into our folder. So we have a project folder. And so in that project folder of a light study, we have our scene files where we have our actual scenes saved, but then we also have an images folder, and this is where the images will be generated and placed when it renders. So we have to make sure we have our project set so that it will automatically render into the images folder. So if I go up now and I bring up and I hit render the current frame, I have this. So I have my shot. Now if I like that, I can keep it. I might make a couple different bookmarks, render it out again until I'm happy with that. So here's the shot that I want to keep. So now I'm going to go up to File. This is in my render view. File, Save Image, and then it's going to, should save it as a JPEG. I'm choosing my JPEG. I'm going to give my name, D. Dallas Light Study. And notice it's already in the images folder. And I'm going to say save. All right. So now if I go to the images folder, I should have an image in there. And here it is. If I double click on it, there's my image. Okay. And that would be what I want to turn in for my light and my shadow study. Also, I want the scene file to, well, actually, you'll just turn in your project folder. The project folder will have everything in it. So it's easier to just submit it that way. And one of the things that we want to do, and we may or may not want to do, is in the render view, this is one thing that you want to kind of look for, is that it has this gamma correction option. By default, it's on. If I turn it off, it's going to be a little darker. If I turn it on, there's these different settings that allow it to kind of boost some of the values a little bit. By default, it's at this value, so I'm going to leave that on. When I say File, Save Image, it actually will give me the color managed image or the raw image. I'm going to choose color managed image because then it'll look like this setting. So with color managed, It's using this to boost those values a little bit. So I can just replace that and say save. Do I want to replace it? Yes. And then I should be able to see the difference here. It's just a little bit lighter. Notice that I have a temporary folder that it throws in, so it throws in images in the temporary folder as well sometimes. So you can kind of see the difference that this is a little bit lighter when I use that gamma correction. So those are the basics of just rendering out an image. So as you go through your scene and you might change your point of view. Another thing that you can do is if you want to kind of see this as you are developing it, I can go up inside my workspace and say lighting, and then I can say use all lights. Or I could say use selected light. And then as I choose a light in my scene, I can see where those lights are and what they're doing. And so if I select this light here, and then if I select this light and this light and this light, I can kind of see how they're building in my scene and what they're doing. But that's just one at a time. If I grabbed all of them, you can kind of see everything there. Or if I just say use all lights, then I don't have to have anything selected. So that's another way to kind of see the differences. So as I select a light and I might move it around, I can see how it's changing, or if I adjust the angles or the drop off and all that sort of stuff. And so it's a nice way to kind of see how to do it. It's a great way to also light your scene when you're working on your project. All right, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you later.